All right, guys, this video is going to make you money. Every video that I put out is intended to build your business, make your life easier, and ultimately make you money, and specifically not just revenue that you can take screenshots of, but actual profit in your bank account. And this video is probably the one this year that's going to make you the most. So please take screenshots, take notes, watch it a couple times, comment, whatever, but pay attention. Let's get into it. All right. So this is going to create some controversy, as always, on Twitter, but people need to hear it. Everybody and their dog on Twitter, every guru preaches meta, 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 and I will explain in detail why and why you should be very cautious of everyone telling you to work on meta constantly. And I'm going to give you some real world examples of what I'm doing differently and how that's showing up for me in the form of lots of revenue, which is what the whole point of this game is. Don't get it twisted. It's fun to get up every day and chase something and learn and grow and build a business. But if you're not making money, it's not serving you. So that's always the point here. Okay, so here's my post-purchase survey. I do this for all my brands. You can learn a lot from your post-purchase surveys. If you don't already have one, I suggest that you implement it inside Shopify. I use an app called Fairing, Fairing, and it has templated questions that can get you started. But one of the most important questions is, where did you initially hear about us? And it's not, where did you come from today, right? That would be last click attribution. Everybody's trying to get away from last click attribution because bottom of funnel ads don't build your business like top of funnel ads do. So you can see here in the last 30 days or so, this screenshot was taken, and I have made $320,000 on Google compared to $176,000 on Meta. And so you know that I'm not full of shit, I'm going to show you the live dashboard here and do a screen refresh. So last 30 days, it's actually a bit higher, 393,000, Facebook 263. So I know what I'm talking about. And this is very important. I always go out of my way to take screenshots and screen refreshes because you have to be super careful of who you're learning from. And that's one of the reasons why I'm about to go on a tangent, why everybody should not spend so much time on Facebook, at least in the beginning of your business, especially. So in summary, I'm making quite a bit more on Google than Facebook. If you count Instagram and some of the others, it's similar. But the point is, I'm spending 2% of my time on Google versus 98% of most people's time is in Meta. I spend a lot more of my time in Meta than Google, and Google makes me more. And the reason is Google is a high intent platform. So what does that mean? That means people are actually going on to Google every single day. Yes, there are still old people that use Google and buy a lot of stuff that are searching literally for XYZ supplement, XYZ widget, whatever. And so whenever I start a business, whenever I've started my brands, and whenever I've coached other guys to start, I always start with Google. And the reason is simple. Because it's a bottom of funnel channel and people are actually searching for things, if you start with a product and you can go on Google Trends, you can go on Google's keyword planner within Google Ads, and it will show you exactly how many times every day somebody searches for your widget, right? And I'll send you guys a video on this. Leave a comment if you want the exact video. I'll try to link it here. But in summary, what I do every time I start a brand is I go to Google first because people are searching for the thing. And I purposely find search results, see what other people are doing that are selling that thing. And I purposely figure out, okay, how can I differentiate my product? How can I choose a different angle? Maybe, 3 of these, maybe, 7 out of the 10, 8 out of the 10 supplements in this vertical that I can see has a very healthy keyword search per day are, dark blue, they're black, they're catering towards men. And maybe I think that this product works great for women. The research says so, but nobody's really exploiting that women. So I come up with a pink bottle concept, a woman angle avatar, and I know the unit economics because I can see what other people are pricing at. I did my research. I went to my suppliers. I got the best price. And I know that if I position this pink female supplement bottle on Google and create a great PDP that matches or is better than everyone else's PDP, because I can click through and see what other people are driving traffic to, then I have a very strong chance that I'm going to see revenue and profitability right out of the gate. And the other part of that is not only revenue, like I said, profitability right out of the gate. So you compare that to Meta, where you're going and bugging people that are just scrolling and doom scrolling. They don't want to see your ads. You have to make crazy hooks to get them, to watch your ad. And then you have to get crazy with your PDPs and everything to get a high enough conversion rate to make your numbers make sense, to make a profit on Meta. Whereas Google, people are literally searching for your thing and they want to buy right now. So I always start a business, and I always consult others to start a business on Google. And this again goes against everything that everybody is preaching on Twitter. But I'm telling you it's wrong, and I'm telling you there's a much better way to build a business. Look, I have built 3 businesses that I can think of right now. Two of them are high 7 figures. One is an 8-figure brand, and all of them I started on Google. 2 of them I ran for 5 years on Google at 7 figures without any Meta. Now, most people would tell you that's not, like, they wouldn't tell you that it's not worth it or not possible, but they definitely wouldn't necessarily recommend it. And so back to my point, you need to start on Google. If you've got a brand already that's doing, 100K, 200K, $1 million a month, you need to get your ass on Google as quickly as possible. You are creating massive demand for your product on Meta, and that demand is very difficult to get a positive ROAS on. There's lots of tricks and tips that I share to do that in my other videos. But you need to be capitalizing on Google because you're creating that demand. And if not, other people that are on Google are gobbling that demand up and they're getting a crazy high ROAS. And to give you some context, most of our brands that we're either running or helping with, they spend probably, anywhere from 50% to 30% of what they spend on Meta on Google, but it's a much higher return on investment. Meaning you need to be there to keep your overall MER, media efficiency ratio, in your brand strong. If not, this is why guys come to me all the time during the week and they're like, hey, I'm struggling. I'm only on Meta. I don't have email set up. I'm not doing Google, and I just want to push Meta because that's what everybody tells them on YouTube and on X. They need to be pushing Meta. And again, the problem with that is it's a top of funnel channel. So it's very difficult to crack, especially if you're in supplements, trying to get that monthly reoccurring revenue where everybody else and their dog is playing. You need to focus more on Google to get your ROAS higher, and that allows you to spend more on Meta. So it's a very much switching your mindset from everybody says, cost caps, bid caps, everybody says run more ads on Meta. But that involves what? Like creative strategist, editing your own ads if you're just starting out, tons of editors, UGC, everything. Whereas Google is a couple of search results, Google Shopping, couple, you sync your shopping feed on your Shopify store with Google Shopping, and you build a great PDP, you price your product right, you have the right angle and positioning, and you will get sales from day one. I've bootstrapped 3 businesses to 7 and 8 figures doing only Google for the first few years. And it's super profitable. It's much more profitable than Meta. Meta is for reach, and Meta is for building awareness, and Meta is for really driving top line revenue higher and higher. But to do that, you have to build a complete business, which is Google and other channels, build a really healthy email SMS list, which is 20 to 30% of your revenue should be email SMS. And that's the biggest thing that I see people struggling with is they're only on Meta. They're not doing any of these other things that I talk about in my videos. Let's get into it. I kind of made it myself a cheat sheet so I wouldn't get off too far off track and give you guys the exact steps to take. So yeah, already talked about that. You're interrupting people. Already talked about that. Why Google is different. Why gurus don't teach this. I alluded to this at the start of the video. You have to understand, and that's why I always share screenshots with refreshes, because most gurus on Meta or on X are posting screenshots of Shopify, and a lot of them, unfortunately, are not completely legit. And so you got to understand that it's like the news, right? It's clickbait. People love new meta strategies because it's such a difficult channel to crack, and so it's much better for their engagement to post meta tips than it is to say go on boring ass Google and make a bunch of money, and it's super easy. Like they can't sell that in a course. They wouldn't get a lot of engagement in their comments, and so that's why you don't see it everywhere. Because I'm sure you're saying like, Mike, this, like, nobody's talking about this, and usually when people don't talk about that, it doesn't make sense. But in this case, I'm just saying exactly why it makes sense. They wouldn't be able to charge a bunch of money for their mentorships. The algorithm doesn't like it. It's boring. It's old school. It's whatever. But I promise you, we have brands that are spending $100,000 a day with a 3 ROAS on Google right now, which is just absolutely insane. So I'm not just preaching it, I'm doing it. We are scaling brands actively on Google. Yes, at that level, you have to have Meta and other top of funnel channels. But to start, you don't. You could make a nice 100K, 200K, 500K a month, really profitable business on just Google, just to prove my point. Okay, so here's the strategy. Take a screenshot of this, watch it again. This is going to be probably the best thing that you can do for yourself all year. If you just hunker down and focus on this, it will make you money. So here's where it gets really powerful. This is what you should do. You should have 30% of your revenue come from evergreen products. These are the products that people search for year round. These are dumb examples: table lamps, desk organizers, phone accessories, phone cases, you name it, something that is very much steady. And the reason is, and I'll come back to that. Seasonal products, 40% of your revenue. These are your big money makers. Cooling products in the summer, heating products in the winter, giftable products in Q4. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Giftable products for Valentine's Day. So I'm showing you how to kind of build a portfolio like you would with like your stocks, right? And then trending products, 30% of your revenue. These are products that have the highest potential to go crazy and make you a ton of money. But these are the products that people talk about pump and dump on X, because they're lightning in a bottle. By the time something catches fire on TikTok, people start ripping it on Meta. It works for 2 months, then everybody gets involved. It drives the profitability down, and then they have to start over because it's either too saturated or there's another hot supplement or another hot product for the next season, because things go in cycles. Maybe something else goes viral. You get the idea. So to stabilize your business, because I always teach people, build a business that you can wake up every day and work on. I don't like chasing viral products, pumping and dumping stores every 2 months. It's just way too difficult. You're not really building enterprise value. You're building a headache. You're building a lot of stress for yourself. You're constantly making new stores. You have to play the game really aggressively to chase trending products because everybody else is as well. So 30% of your revenue should be evergreen products. This will stabilize your business. This is something you can work on your email, SMS, post-purchase upsells, like a lot of like IntelliGem split testing. Like this is going to be something that you improve the metrics of over and over and over. You can launch new products within this realm. You can really build a solid business, and then within that, you choose a niche that you can also launch seasonal products. Again, these are things that pop off in the summer, in the winter, seasonal moments, gifting moments. You can really make a lot more profit during these times, but you have to have products that are seasonal. If you're just up here playing this evergreen game, this is why Black Friday was invented, because a lot of the big businesses weren't profitable until Black Friday. because they're just stuck because they're big, right? They can't just like pick and choose everything they sell, even though a lot of them now do. And then trending products. This is a game that you should play after you have these first two pillars because it can give you some of the biggest upside, but you should only play it when you have these other two pillars. Think about it like a stock portfolio. You want your ETFs, you want to buy gold, you want to buy silver, maybe some Bitcoin. These are like altcoins. These are things that you can have a crazy upside, but they're not going to be stable. They're not going to let you retire from your 9 to 5. They're not going to like feed you year in and year out. They're not going to let you build a big team, because by the time you build a big team, this moment's over. It's saturated. Something else is trending. But you do want to put yourself in a position as a business that you can launch and scale really quickly these trending products. So once you have these first two pillars, you can take advantage of some of the most viral products that we see, and have some of the biggest upside, just like you would in an investment portfolio. These would be like the risky stocks, the altcoins, etc. So again, with this mix, you have consistent income, and you have the hot revenue spikes. And remember, when products trend on Facebook, people don't just buy on Facebook. They also go to Google and search for them. So when you're on Google, especially PMax shopping, you're capturing demand for those popular products without competing against everybody and their dog on Facebook. This is a numbers game where 95% of the people are playing the same difficult game against each other on Meta, and you're over here saying, sick, this supplement is super in demand. I'm not going to hire a bunch of editors, produce a bunch of content, pay a fortune. I'm just going to like clean up house on Google and like have super profitable repeat customers daily. Why am I so confident? I've done it and I've proven it year after year. I've been doing this 12 years. So this is something that worked then and it works today. And again, I'm not saying that Facebook ads don't work. You should have a Facebook strategy. You should work on top of funnel awareness. It will further scale your Google if you can run Facebook. But my tangent today is people are overlooking Google and they're getting stuck. The last few weeks have been brutal for a lot of brands that come to me for help, and almost everyone is not running Google. And during times where your ROAS is very skinny, you're barely breaking even on Meta, and you can't control geopolitical stuff, you can't control the consumer, Facebook gets really tough. But then, on Google, our brands are still getting a 2 to 3 ROAS the last few weeks on Google, which allows us to weather the storms of Meta because you can't always stay in control. But you do need to keep that top of funnel going. And again, no creative burnout. Like I said, with Facebook, your best ads die. You're always creating new creative. You have to build a flywheel because Facebook penalizes you for running the ads too long. Google, you don't have to deal with any of that. You just set it up and it runs and it works. Lower competition, like I keep saying, everyone is running Facebook ads. So you compete over on Google where 95% of the people are not. And it's just a lot easier game to play. And again, higher intent traffic. People are literally telling you what they want with their search terms. So you only pay for a click when somebody comes to buy your thing. So a click on Google is worth infinitely more than on Meta because you didn't just interrupt their day, you interrupted their search for your exact widget or supplement. And it's easier to delegate. Facebook, you need a big team, editors, script writers, UGC creators, strategists. Google, you literally can get started yourself if you know what you're doing, or you can hire an agency or someone like me to help build it out. And it's a lot easier to manage. It costs a lot less money to manage it and scale it. A lot less moving pieces. Even if you pay for some, crazy guy like I have on my team to scale the crap out of your Google ads, you're not paying for content editors and creative strategists and this crazy flywheel where you have to build, hundreds of ads every single month. And it's more predictable scaling. It's much more predictable because the keyword search volume is much more dependable than Meta, because you're competing for those searches. You're not competing against people that are just scrolling Meta. Final rant. Again, I created this video because I'm sick of people struggling with Facebook and not doing anything about Google. And again, if you do this, if you don't know how to execute on this, hit me up. I'll help you. If you do just get started, it will make you money. You do need to structure your campaigns correctly. You can have a lot of waste in your keyword search terms. So if you don't know what you're doing, make sure to get somebody help you set it up right. You can waste money, not as much money on Meta, but you can waste money if you don't set it up properly. And again, Facebook ad gurus are always going to be on X. You're always going to, if you scroll too much on X every day, you're not going to get anything done, because you're going to see all these new advanced strategies, especially with AI, but you need to stay consistent with what you're building every day. And this is a huge part of how you can make money. Now, does that mean you'll be making 256K in the next month? Probably not, unless you're already spending 500K, or you're already doing 500K in revenue on your business and you don't run Google, then absolutely. Or if you're running Google and you're not doing it well, you can absolutely get a lot more scale with some of these strategies we're using. And I'll do another video about that. If you're interested, hit me up. Definitely, there are some landing pages that are ripping like crazy on Google that we're using in, $10,000 a day spend businesses that we're running, and also the 100K per day businesses that we're running. They are all using the same proven kind of landing pages that are just crushing. So you definitely need to know what you're doing, but there's not as many moving pieces as Meta. And again, if you execute on this and you're not profitable within 60 days, this is important. Take a screenshot of this. It's because you either picked a bad product with not enough search volume. And I have a video, bug me in the comments and I'll send you the video where I go through exactly how to get started, choosing the right product, building the right PDP, finding the right angle to compete with everybody else in that product. Don't worry about if a product's saturated. You need to find the right angle to compete. Or if you priced it wrong, and you can alleviate that again by doing your due diligence in the beginning and seeing what other prices are out there and how you can stack up against them by going to your manufacturers, seeing what your costs will be. Your landing page sucks. Again, I have videos teaching you exactly how to build the right PDP with all the trust elements, all of the things you need to be super CRO dialed in. And you didn't give it enough time. I wouldn't start with seasonal products. I would start, like I mentioned, with evergreen, and then build in some seasonal, and then build in some viral kind of products that are just scaling crazy right now. Yeah, I've proven it. Strategy works. If you want to scale with my help, hit me up. If you want to do it on your own, sick. Just be careful of those search terms. Be careful of getting your structure right. You can't do it all, so definitely build the right team around you, and stop spending so much time on Facebook. You're competing against everybody else. Spend a little bit of time, spend a month building this out, finding the right team, and you will be making a lot more money. And hit me up and tell me how it goes. Again, if you get stuck, bug me. Cheers, guys. Hope this helps you crush it. See you on the next one.